My name is Mike, and I'm here to show you my van. My van's name is Kit, and it's a 2014 Dodge Grand Caravan that I live in full-time, permanently, and I've made it my home, so come and take a look. But for the sake of this video, I was going to take out this sink. So this is a sink, fresh water, a little USB faucet, and a bowl that I just dump on the ground, like that. And this is also my stove, actually. This is a 2-burner, it opens up to a 2-burner stove. It cooks all my meals, and the fuel, and the dish soap for the sink. So this is a sink and stove that I can kind of just, you know, put anywhere. So I'll put it out here for the video. And it's also the table that I eat on is just kind of hanging on the back on some screws. So this sink comes out because sometimes I like to do dishes outside. Just like that. In the summertime, it's nice to rinse your dishes outside, come outside, and you can wash your hands as well. It's also nice because nowadays they're telling you to wash your hands every 2 seconds. I can come out to my van and just wash up with soap and water, and all the time, you know. So I really like my sink. This USB thing lasts probably a month, 2-3 weeks at least. The modular system that I built means that I can do things in my van while I'm in my van, meaning if I don't want my sink here, I can slide it over here, or sometimes I switch the spots where I'm cooking from here to on the coffee table. Sometimes the fridge slides over here. This whole cabinet, it's hard to tell right now, I got it covered with a black curtain, but this thing is my food cabinet. It's a huge, heavy construction plywood box with an angled back. And the reason for that is because it was actually built to design was to accommodate the backrest of that driver's seat, and it fits there perfectly. It's actually not supposed to be here. This is where it landed. It fits perfectly though, so I like it here. And then when I cover it with a black curtain, to someone just walking by or just driving by, it kind of just looks like a seat with the same angle. This is like a coffee table. I can cook on here with that 2-burner stove. It's also where I keep all my t-shirts in a bag, and an extension cord in a bag. This is just a little, I call it my coffee table, but it's actually part of the bed. So I got a bunch of these little pins and stuff, and that pin will put this thing into the floor like this, and now it's can't move like while I'm driving or sleeping. Looking at it from the back, you know, my bed looks pretty narrow, and as it stands right now, it's 21 inches wide, so it is narrow. I will sleep on it sometimes when I'm lazy and I don't feel like making the whole bed. This is the other, I guess, third of the bed. It's 12 inches wide, so 21. It's a 33 or 34 inch wide bed when it's completely out. So what it does is, under it all is, just to show you, I'll rip it apart, but underneath is moving parts, like I say. So the bed comes out, and then it's held up with this big heavy foot that I built. It just sits in it, and that's it. So you can kind of dance on that. It'll hold you up. The reason why I made them round is just for fun. And it also folds up this way, so I can access my battery bank and inverter. The battery, I think it says right on here, 103 amp hours. So it's a larger marine battery that I got. This is a 4,000 watt inverter. It's pretty much overkill for the van. I don't need 4,000 watts at any time, but what I was finding was I had one that was actually 1,500 watts, which is a max, and I was running 1,500 watt equipment like a coffee maker, a blow dryer and stuff like that, and it couldn't handle it because it was maxing it out. So the next step up from 1,500 was 4,000, and I think I got a good price or something like that. This is my kind of main power for just charging lights, batteries, cell phones, whatever. It's a Goal Zero Yeti 400 lithium. I've had it for 2.5 years. I'd say I'd recommend it. I broke the screen on it because I dropped it on its face. This little middle panel doesn't work anymore for some reason, but the device still holds a lot of power for a long time in any temperature. This outlet works, this outlet works. I charge this at work or while I drive. This cabinet is part of that modular system. It sits in here with no tools, no hardware or anything. There was no drills into the van or anything. This is actually held in under its own weight. It's fit in with into the cup holders that are in the van. I cut wooden cups that fit into the cup holders and are fastened to this thing. So the whole thing kind of essentially fits into cup holders and then also into holes in the floor. I don't know if you can see that, but there's holes down there somewhere. So this thing, it's heavy and it fits right in there. It can come out like a 1-inch straight up lift and you can take it all out. I won't do that now because it weighs a ton with all the food and stuff. Right here is my tool battery. That's my lights. I don't know if you can see the LED strip up there. Turn it on and off. And I mainly just run it off of a drill battery here, like this, that I charge every day at work because I'm using saws and drills all the time. In the middle shelf is my cooking dishes, pots, pans, bong for hitting, forks and knives and spoons. This was actually the original design, to have it open like this, and it was like that for a week or two. But then I saw this piece laying on the ground and I was like, hell, this is gonna fit perfectly because it came out of there, but it actually closes it and cleans it up nice, so I thought it looked good. And then I stuck magnets to it so it stays on there. I also use this thing as a shelf. You can't see right now, but I stick it in there and I stick my laptop on there at night and I can watch movies on this, like, so it doubles as a shelf. This thing is a battery charger. It charges off of the alternator or when I'm plugged into shore power, whichever one I'm at the time. And I think it also is a little gauge right here. It tells me my battery status. So when I'm doing the sun and stuff, I can plug this on it and it'll read me the gauge and give me a semi-accurate reading of where my battery is at. Right here is the solar collector charger thing. It just sits in here because that's kind of where it landed and where the wire landed. Right here, this shelf is almost kind of like a mini version of this shelf. I'm gonna tear it right down right now. Comes straight up and out. See that? And then on the back, there's a cup right here. This is how this shelf fits. This little circle out of wood fits into this coaster, and this kind of rectangular one fits into this rectangular shape, and they kind of seat right in there, and they're fitted perfect for that spot. And then under its own weight, and that's how it goes back in. So to do that again, I cut this big square out just to reduce weight, and it's just a one-piece front, and it sits right into the coaster and the rectangle thing, and it's as solid as the van is. You know what I mean? Like, it's not going nowhere. This whole bedding situation is going to be fixed soon because I ordered the couch cushions from a friend who's making them currently, and they're supposed to be in like next week. So they'll be covering this. They're like a nice fabric, and this is going to be modified one more time. It's going to be cut in half again, actually. There's going to be one more quick mod. But what I would do on any given day is go like this, and I kind of turn this stuff all around the side and the back, and it opens up the whole seating area here, so I can kind of just lean on this back thing. And I got, you know, my fridge is up here. It's a 12-volt fridge. It's not running full time. It runs while I drive or while my batteries are juiced up. So usually at work I'm charging, and then at night I use the juice. And then I go to work and charge, and then, you know what I mean? And in between that and the alternator, I put a nice strong battery in the van. I can run it for, I think, 7 or 8 hours straight, this fridge, without doing any damage to the battery. So between the 3 batteries and a plug-in at work, I'm kind of running this probably half time or 3/4 time. Under here is a massive storage where I keep my gym bag, where I shave and showers at the gym. I got a 24-hour pass, nationwide, I guess. And down here I keep my laptop, which is mainly just for movies and dirty laundry, towels, and gym bag. And then it all is supposed to fit right down there, and that goes down there. Under it is where I keep all my pants and shorts. One bag, simple. and it just slides back in. Pants and shorts all away. Under here, socks and underwear. And then there's one more down here. They both fit in, and this one's sweaters. Obviously I took out the front seat and the whole center console. We're not even going to the front today because for the sake of this video, I just stacked all my bedding, all my stuff up there for the sake of this video, because I wasn't really planning this video. This was a week too soon kind of thing for me. But here we are kind of traveling and crossing paths, so we made this video. But this seat doesn't exist anymore, and this thing now takes its spot. This thing actually just goes right down here. Really, that was supposed to stay there, and I was just gonna have like a dresser. This was a dresser at first, and the food was in other spots. So what that does is it kind of opens up this down here, like this, and this one. These things would just go kind of store on the bed for a minute, and then I have a legal seat, headrest, and seat belt for a passenger legally, so they don't have to illegally sit on my bed. But that's if we're doing something, you know, if I'm carrying a loved one, or you know, my sister or my niece or a friend, they can sit in here for a long distance. But if my friend and I are just going to the corner store to 7-Eleven, he always just sits on the bed, you know what I mean? In here, this is all just cluttered in shit right now. Like I say, I just threw everything up here for a minute. This is all my tools and tool batteries. One thing I really wanted to show you, actually, that I've missed. Let me show you my favorite part. In the last video, my favorite part of the van, and one of my favorite tools, was the blower, because that yellow blower, it blasts all the air out and cleans your van really well. But one thing I've built, so when this thing was in its place, like where it should sit, so there's a hole cut out the front, but that allowed me to pull a vacuum hose through and have central vac up in here. That's my favorite part. On the windows, I have Reflectix, and on the other side of that Reflectix is here's a piece of it, is black fabric. I think it's denim, and it's heavy. So what it does is it blacks out the van. So this is on the outside, and then the Reflectix is on the inside. I believe it might add a very small layer of insulation, like an R1 maybe, just to keep the air from touching the glass. But it's not much insulation, but it's more for, originally this was actually more for reflecting the sun. It didn't have black fabric on it when I first cut them out to size. And when you put these things on in the hot summer, they work beautifully for reflecting the sun and keeping the van cool. So what actually happens is these two things are identical, like this and like this. And then in the summer, I just switch them sides, and then the black comes in and the silver goes out. So I can reverse them and make them more summer friendly to keep the heat out. Another thing that I really like about this system is when I run out of water, I kind of have little, like, I call them like water tablets kind of thing. I just take it out, and it's empty right now, but this is normally full. That one down there is full, there's two in there, but this will be full, and then I just switch it, and then I put the empty one in there, and I could do that all while I'm cooking in the van. So I just switched the caps. So these are like actual sealed caps, and this one's open so that the little draw straw goes into it, into this hole. You see, I only use the finest plumbing fixtures. This thing is great. It's a 2-burner, and I can kind of cook while I'm sitting up here. I put it on anything. I can put it on the fridge, I can put it on the coffee table, I can put it on here, I can do whatever. Sometimes I dangle it off of the edge of a smaller table, and I use 1 burner because I don't have a lot of space sometimes. I like to compartmentalize everything because it keeps it cleaner and more organized than just kind of carrying a bag around. I like to put things in hard cases. I found that it works. What I'm finding is I really like that everything is compartmentalized because I just have more robotic motions, like, you know, the stove. I take it out, I cook, I put it back right there. now. That's it. There's no big house to lose everything in, you know what I mean? Like, everything has a spot. It's got its fixed locations that I'm learning. And if you can stick to fixed locations for your stuff and organization, that's going to be really helpful to you. Organization is key in a small place. So I think I heard that when I first moved into the van. They're saying, be organized, and I was like, it's cool. They were right. You know, I'm still figuring out ways, storage solutions, you know, 2.5, 3 years later. It's always a work in progress. I'm always changing things. Like I said, this thing wasn't for food. This was a dresser. And then one night I got bored. I was like, hey, the food would fit in there. My clothes would fit over here, and so on and so on. So I just moved shit around. It might change again, you know. I said before that I wasn't going to change the old van design because I was happy with it. Obviously, I have to take that back. I changed the whole thing. Complete rebuild. So I'm really, really happy with this. These are my 2 storage boxes. This one's mainly just for shoes. Shoes and stuff. But I was having troubles finding a bracket on the underneath that was strong enough to support it, because it will sag in between the things here. So it was starting to sag, so I had to build something. So what I found was an ironing board at Value Village for $7. And I cut the legs off because it's steel, and it's actually supporting this thing 100%. It happens to be the same size as the box as well. So for $7 I got a lot of raw steel. That is the bracket for this thing, because I was pricing out actual raw steel, and it was going to cost me $75 just for the steel, and then welding and parts and labor and all that stuff. It would probably cost me $200 or $300 for this bracket. So I found it for $7 at Value Village. So happy with it. Funny story, I was driving down the highway about a month ago, and a police officer pulled up beside me, and he's like, roll down your window. And I was like, oh no, what does he want? And I rolled down my window, and he goes, tell me that's an ironing board on your roof. I said, it is an ironing board. And he goes, thumbs up, man. So I thought that was kind of cool. People seem to like the ironing board, and I like it. So I wanted to show you that. And then solar panel, 100 watts. 100 watt solar panel up in here. This redesign and rebuild took me about 10 days straight over Christmas. I decided Christmas morning, I had, Christmas holidays, 10 or 11 days off. And I was sitting there with a friend Christmas morning in my old design, thinking about the new design that I want to do, and I had 10 days off in front of me, and I just said, fuck it. I said, Chris, I'm leaving. I'm going to the bush. I'm going up to the farm for 10 days. I'll see you in a bit. And I came back and I rebuilt this whole thing in that 10 days out there. So I'd think that it's actually more closer to 2 weeks in real time, because I added more days on later on. Like that cabinet I built in a day, like a month later kind of thing. So all in all, probably 2 weeks of work, but it's not easy work. Cutting contours and custom shapes in vehicles is not easy. The floor, it's a super big slope like this, so you got to lift the floor at the front to make it somewhat level. It's a lot of work, all while trying to include trap doors and stuff, contours along the sides of the minivans. There's just tons of round things and stuff like this, so it's a lot of in and out. Like one cabinet will took me all day to build. The floor took me 2 days to build, and it looks like just a flat thing, but there's a lot going on in there. So yeah, the first build took me a weekend because it was rough. This build took me, I'd say, 2 weeks. And the thought process was, I got bored in the old design. I had a bunch of ideas being generated in my head that I was just thinking about, and then I just had to make them a reality. I couldn't sit there and be like, I wonder if that would work, because it's not, my nature to wonder like that. I like to make it. I much prefer this new build. It's a lot more spacious. I can do whatever I want. Like, I can even juggle in here. I juggle really low. I can sit on my couch and juggle if it's pouring rain outside, when it's nice and open. So I love the space. I just really like the design. Once it's painted, once I get my finishing touches, cushions and stuff like that, it's going to be a really nice design. I still want to add a couple things, like I'm going to put more locking pins for stuff. But you see this sink, it's just sitting there. There's nothing locking it down to nothing, but it's never moved. So not to say that it can't move or that it wouldn't move in the event of an accident. You know, this thing would fly up, cut off my head, and kill me. But that would be after the accident killed me anyways. I'm not too worried about it. I also drive in a manner that isn't rough. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm a smooth operator. So you could like sleep sitting upright. That's a good way that I gauge a driver if they're smooth or not. If you can kind of sit in the passenger seat and sleep upright, because there's some drivers that are not like that and they're throwing you all over the place. You've got people flying everywhere, you got furniture flying everywhere, things flying off the shelves, and that's not my nature of driving. I take corners slow, I accelerate and brake easily, so nothing's sliding ever forward or back. So maybe, you know, just the way I drive would help that this thing doesn't move. But it could be fastened down, but what I'm probably going to do is take a sliding bolt and slide it into the floor, and that'll be that. It'll just hold it down, kind of like the coffee table has.
If you would like to be featured on different media, there's a form you can fill out to be on the podcast or to have your van toured. And if you're interested in watching more alternative dwelling tours like this, we upload every single Sunday. So hit subscribe, and new van life and chill podcasts every Thursday. Thanks everyone for watching.